Hi, this is Becca with Reset and Restore. Today I'm going to speak on the topic of our five senses and why they are so important to our well-being. On a physical level, we can understand our senses as related to our sight, sound, smell, taste, and our touch. Our senses are very strong indicators as they give us feedback and integrate with our mind, our will, and our emotions. We sense and then we act accordingly to our senses. For example, you may hear some familiar sounds in the kitchen as mom begins to cook. Then you smell her famous chocolate chip cookies and start to salivate when they are set before your eyes. The digestive enzymes preparing to digest the goodness. In addition, the smell may remind you of all the pleasant memories over the years of playing outside with your friends and mom calling you in for a sweet treat. These memories flood your emotions and may influence your will and your desire to pass these traditions on to your children. The organs connected to our senses are the eyes, the ears, the nose, the mouth, and skin, and they are the first responders to assimilate our environment, providing us with key information that gives us insight into how we will choose to respond. When our senses are fully enlivened, we have the foundation to make the best choices possible for our health and our well-being. Let's take a quick review of each of our five senses and their significant importance. Starting with our sight, which is connected to our eyes, in which you can see me right now. Our eyes contain more than half of all our sensory receptors in the body. Wow, the eyes are amazing in that they form images on our retina, absorb light, and the rods and cones allow us to see color. As we process images in our brain, we start to perceive using our mental faculties and impulses to speak or act according to what we see outward and absorb inward. Hearing sound is one of our finest senses, and it's connected to space and vibrations. An amazing fact about the ears is that the ear's receptors can transform sound vibrations with amplitudes as small as an atom of gold into electrical signals 1,000 times faster than photoreceptors can respond to light. These electrical signals are important for us to be able to listen, understand, assimilate knowledge, and even enjoy our favorite music. Processing of sound through our ear is also important for our bodies to maintain a sense of balance and equilibrium. Our sense of smell is very much connected to our sense of taste. The receptors within our nose are stimulated by chemical molecules that are suspended in air and strongly linked to our memories and emotions. If the channels within our nose become blocked, such as when we have a cold, then our sense of smell is impaired, and we also lose some of our abilities to taste. Our sense of taste, like our sense of smell, is highly based on chemical reactions. The receptors of taste being located on our tongue with over 10,000 taste buds. Have you ever burned your tongue tasting something way too hot, and for some time it was difficult for you to taste anything? Well, that burning pain signal projects to the same part of your brain that also gives rise to your perception of taste. Last but not least is the sense of touch. With skin being our largest organ surrounding our entire being and made up of millions of sense receptors, touch is vital to our well-being and triggers nerve impulses that communicate with our brain and necessary for our very survival. As we are born, the very act of touch as a baby from our parents and loved ones help us to feel safe, cared for, and comforted. As we continue to develop our sense of touch, it plays a significant role on the very feedback we need for our survival. The role of all of these senses are vital in supporting our prana, our life energy. They bring us in contact with the facilities of our mind, our will, and our emotions. The proper use of our senses nourishes us and gives us the inner intelligence to integrate from within ourselves to our surroundings. In Ayurveda, there is an understanding that the root of all pain, sorrow, and disease are a result of misuse, underuse, or overuse of time, senses, and action. As we live in such a sensual world, there's an importance to find balance from overstimulation and understimulation of senses. Our circuit board, which makes all the connections from our brain to our heart to the actions we take, need proper maintenance. The connections and subsequent channels need to be cleaned to regain balance. We have roadmaps within our mind to connect us to the senses we enjoy and the feedback loops we've learned to gather from the signals we've sent out. How do we reset years and years built up of habits? Do we recognize habits that are self-sabotaging? Which habits are good for our neural network and which ones need some adjustments and purifications? One of the most powerful and effective ways in which we can help to reset and restore our senses is through inner reflection and meditation. Balancing going inward helps us to better interact with the outward stimulation from our environment. I like to summarize with 2 quotes. The first one acknowledging the importance of our senses, and the second, the importance of turning within to ourself. The first is taken from the Upanishads by a version by Eknath Easwaran, which describes the senses as paraphrase. Our eyes and what can be seen, our nose and what can be smelled, our tongue and what can be tasted and spoken, our skin and what can be felt, the hands and what can be held, the organ of sex and its object of enjoyment, the feet and what they walk on, the mind and what it thinks, the intellect and what is known, the ego and what it grasps, the heart and what it loves, the light and what it illuminates. And the second quote by Sri Ramana Maharishi. Happiness is the very nature of the self. Happiness and the self are not different. We imagine through our ignorance that we derive happiness from objects. When the mind goes out, it experiences misery. In truth, when its desires are fulfilled, it returns to its own place and enjoys that happiness. That is the self.